Let's start this video off like this. I want to thank the Lord above for being my Lord and Savior, for getting me through all the times, good and bad. I want to thank my team for being my team. Let's rock it out. I fear no one. I walk with him. Welcome. It's war in LA right now. We can smell it in the air. Everybody know. Rap news, street politics go with the war in LA, Hoovers versus everybody that push H blank. We gonna get into it right now. 3, 2, 1. It's your boy ODM Slim, and I'm back again with another one. You know, we had to get into street politics. You know, that's our thing. We're in street code, street politics, you know what I'm saying? This is another one of them street politics situations. Los Angeles is on fire. We know what's going on, man. For the ones that know what's going on, move right. You know what I'm saying? We got kids out there that's losing their life every day. We got homie on homie violence. We got op on homie violence. We got, you know what I'm saying, ally on ally violence. It gets like that. South Central is toe up right now. So we're going to pray. We want to pray for everybody that, you know what I'm saying, that lost their family involved in this videos that's made on the content I be doing. Straight up, because, you know what I'm saying, it's still family out there that's mourning they loved ones and stuff, and people making content with their family inside of it. So I want to say before we even start, all the people that lost their life within these contents I've been doing, I want to give my condolence to y'all. You know what I'm saying? But you know what time it is with me. I get straight to the nitty gritty. We get this raw content in, you know what I'm saying, authentic, and you know how we come in. ODM, baby. Let's get to the content. It says, title reads, the emergence of H blank city Hoovers versus H blank city hoods. No peace in LA. Let's get it.
Rap news, street politics, the best hood channel on YouTube, and we back about to take a deep dive in the gunplay that's going on in South Central right now. Now, for everybody who knows or doesn't know what's going on in LA right now, it's get back season, the end of the summer slow, nothing down. Everything is seemingly ramped up, man. And we got to break down exactly what's going on through the most active blocks and hoods throughout South Central. But a movement that I've noticed over the years that some hoods is pushing is what's called HK City. Now, we know that the Hoovers have the most enemies in the city, but we also know they control a lot of territory in the city. And one thing these hoods gonna have in common is every hood is pretty much its own quote unquote community. And as you become familiar with these sets, these neighborhoods that they exist in also serve as like pocket cities throughout LA. Everybody has their own boundaries, their own program, and different terrain in their hood. But the HK cities are, of course, as they sound, hoods that are Hoover K. And what we see is some hoods, a little bit more than others, pushing HK City. Hoods like the Rolling Hundreds, the Main Streets, South Los, East Coast, the 40s, the Menlos. These are some of the hoods that I've seen over the years striking up HK City, which to me is somewhat of a furtherance of boundary and of course a political stance that specific hoods are taking. Now, again, we see this mostly with hoods that beef primarily with Hoover, and these are also gonna be the hoods that we see actively participating in this gunplay. Now, of course, everything that I speak on is subjective. The only concrete thing and factual thing that we can speak on is that people are losing their lives. So in the subjective matter, we have to say that everything that's going on right now are allegations but we know the streets is talking, and the best hood channel on YouTube got to bring you as close as possible to what's really going on, man.
They homies, nigga, on Main Street. What's this, Vert K, huh? Hey, Snoover's at, though?
What?
Where the Snoovers at, nigga?
I don't know where no Snoop was.
All right, then, nigga, Main Street. Tell them we here, nigga. Fuck Snoover and all that, nigga.
Now, while putting this video together, two rappers and dudes who are low-key faces in their section have lost their life around this situation. Grady Myers, aka T-Fo the Low, from 11 Deuce Broadway, lost his life October 8th in his hood on 113th and Main Street. And as we recording this video, man, YCA 80 Bands was reportedly shot in his face on Vermont, Manchester, on the borderline of 9 Deuce and H Hoover. And before we really get started, man, we gotta say,
I'm gonna say respect to both of them, but YC 80 Bands kind of threw me off right here. This ain't no, this a border, it's all Hoover right here. I don't see what a Main Street Mafia Crip would be doing right there. I'm just saying, I don't get it. I do not get it. Every time I see this, it's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like,
rest in peace to everybody that has lost their life in this war this year. We only talking about this year. That seems to escalate on a pattern throughout the city. Now, the crazy thing is, YCA 80 Bands from Eastside A4 Main Street had just tapped in asking about his placement on the Crip report card. And I told him that we got him in future videos as representation of this cripping. And the last thing he said was, does it take him dying to make it onto one of our videos, man? And you know, I really wish it didn't have to be this way, with us bringing up people who are trying to make it out the street shit with the music or any other endeavors that they participating in, and really just trying to get on, you know what I'm saying? But you know, we try to highlight everybody in the city in the same way, same fashion, man. Every hood, it don't matter where you from, the smallest to the biggest of names, man, we really try to put on for the city. So it's for sure, rest in peace to T-Fo and YCA 80 Bands. But as you know, we cannot start right here with the gunplay in the city. So over the last 5 to 6 months, a lot has transpired, and we gotta rewind the clock back to Memorial Day weekend, May 23rd, 2025, on the west side of South Central. There are 4 murders that took place in 3 separate events that are pertinent or relevant to the situation and to the hoods that are repping HK City and the Hoovers. Now, the first situation was potentially one that had the most eyeballs on it when Mashron Montgomery, aka King Boy, from the Dirt Gang, Rolling 30 Harlem Crip, 19 years old, lost his life on 96th and Van Ness as the result of a gunshot to the head in a late night situation in the neighborhood 90s. Now, almost simultaneously, 34-year-old Rico Antoine Mitchell was found laying outside with apparent gunshot wounds, with neighbors hearing gunshots and the car speeding off on 52nd and Hoover in the Fido's Hoovers. Now, before the situation this year, everything seemed to low-key be running accordingly, so to speak. Nothing too crazy. We know shit is happening all the time. There's gunplay to be had year-round. But when King Boy got killed, a shift changed in the city. Then we seen this murder on 52nd and Hoover. And of course, the 9-0s and the Hoovers are rival hoods. And this is somebody from the 30s, and the closest Hoover hood to the Harlems sees a murder the same night he's killed. Now, I'm not gonna make any assumptions. These are just the facts. Now, the key thing about King Boy, like I said, he's in the 9-0s. We know the 30s to the 100s is what's going on, and all them hoods are gonna rep HK City. But King Boy had close ties to Infant Stein from the 5 NUG, the Rolling Hunnids. We know right now the Hunnids have an aura about themselves. Well-respected members coming out all of the hoods of the Hunnids. We know there's internal conflict going on between the 111s, 11-5s, Blocks, Hard Times, UGs. The 111s seemingly are focused a little bit more on the Blocks and UGs, but the Blocks and UGs are pushing HK City. Now, when you see this HK City written up, there's a couple things that's going along with that. Number one, we see them whacking the eye out. Most of, if not all of these hoods are gonna be beefing with the Inglewood Bloods. So we really see that eye getting funny with the West Side hoods. But something that everybody does is whacking that T out for them Trey gangsters in these HK City hit-ups. Now, with King Boy being cool with Stein, we've seen them together over multiple occasions. It's alleged that the Rolling Hunnids took it upon themselves. For some reason, they settled on the gangsters potentially being responsible for what happened in the 9-0s. And Stein slides up Normandy with a 20-year-old man and a 12-year-old boy looking for the get back. Now, the key thing about that 12-year-old boy, we got him on our thumbnail.
Damn. 12 years old boy, man. 12-year-old little boy, man. I don't even want to see the 12-year-old boy because I probably know him. Damn, though. But that's how we sending the kids to, we start paying attention to these kids, man. Straight up. Because as a mom and a mom, y'all be like, oh, that's a little kid and this and that. But we be really in the streets treacherous at 12, 13, 14 years old. Like, and that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? It ain't a good look, but it's the truth.
In the Rolling Hundreds internal conflict video, you know, as people reached out when we did that video came out well before these situations transpired. His people wanted us to blur his face out. We did, so that's cool. My thing is, man, y'all gotta get a hold of y'all kids tighter than that. You know, these kids is outside, 12 years old, 14. Now, we know that's not unusual, not by any stretch of the imagination. Between 12 and 14 is really a point of time where niggas is jumping off the porch. But don't say nothing to us when these kids is going down on a slide, allegedly in the car with their homies. It's gotta be some more accountability out here. But nonetheless, they make their way to the A-Trays and they found themselves in the north side 80s off Florence and Dalton, allegedly, where it ended up being a case of mistaken identity, where 48-year-old Kevin Ball, aka Tiki, from Eastside Fortray Gangsters in the low bottoms, and another Hispanic man named John Ramos, a non-affiliate, ended up losing their life in this situation. And
it's cold shit because they ain't trying to, you off emotions now, off the emotion because we emotion, like, you know what I'm saying? Lost my brother. I'm trying to go find something, run into something that's not really we beef with. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn. I know this stings.
Camera, Stein, the 20-year-old dude, and the 12-year-old child go down at the scene. Of course, these are still allegations. You can't just say somebody did something because they're there, but this is what's alleged. So to me, this situation right here started the shift, and this is what I deem the precursor to the bullshit. Now, we entered a second phase after this that started on May 29th, 5 days after Memorial Day weekend. Right here, we on 82nd and Main, where a red burgundy sedan pull up, fire rounds at somebody, hitting them in the head before going east on 82nd and turning south down Main. Now, this is in the 84 Main Street hood. Now, the name of this individual hasn't been disclosed because they seemingly made it out this situation.
Damn, that's cold. Get hit in the head and all that survived. That's something like I did. They thought they had him. Boom. Hit him in the head and he survived.
Again, this is in Main Street. Barrio Majados is not far from here, and the Swans are not far, but primarily Barrio Majados and Main Street. Now, since the victim did survive in this situation, how the streets look at this shit is a miss. We just gotta let y'all know the mindset that's going into these moves. This is not a score, but to keep this.
Let me tell you something. Don't believe that just because somebody got hit that they call it a miss. A miss is a real miss, brother. A miss is missing. Hitting somebody is not a miss. Straight up. Because I know people that got hit up and survived. I know somebody got hit one time in a some low and then died. So a hit is a hit. Straight up. It's not a miss. Don't never do it. Yeah, he didn't die, but it's not a miss. They don't miss anything. That's not called a miss.
Thing is, this is a part of HK City. This area is extremely hot. And after this, shit goes quiet. Now, that's a common thing that we seen with some of these hoods. And if you notice, it's a couple hoods out here that have gone quiet and dormant within the last month or so, seemingly because they're at work. Now, after this situation, it goes quiet for about a month, and then it pops up on 61st and Avalon in 6 Deuce East Coast Hood. Again, a part of HK City. Primary beef is the Swans and the Hoovers. 61st and Avalon, a man is shot, but it's another miss. Survive. So as you can see, the pattern starts in the 9-0s, again in the Hoovers, then it goes to the Gangsters. Goes to 6-Pack East Coast, and here we are, July 5th, 99th and Hoover. 4 people shot, gang-related shooting, men ages 37, 40, 44, and 50 in front of a house on 99th Street in the 9 Deuce Hoovers. 4 people. All of them survived another miss. Again, this is just the mindset. When we did that last Broadway video and spoke about why hood.
That's not a miss, cuz. Dead homies, that's not a miss, cuz. Because I swear to God, them people forever gonna be recognized. It's like a terrorist attack, bro. You think they miss when because they stall fear in you. That's what it does. Even if they don't kill you, you stall fear in you. So now you own your life is changed from here on out. That is not a miss. That's a life-changing experience. You just happened to, nigga, you was strong, you survived. Straight, that's not a miss.
Hood days get slid on because that's what we leading up to. We headed to the epicenter of the bullshit, the H City and Hoova Hood Day. Why did it get slid on like this? These misses. Niggas is unsatisfied. People have been lost and they not counting. We hit some people and we gonna chill. That's not how it works. We gotta keep it real. We gotta bring y'all as close as possible to the mindset of this street shit in South Central. So the same night, 4 people were hit on 99th and Hoover. A man is killed on 82nd and May in the 7-6 East Coast Crips. Now, Florencia also shares this section. The kitchens are too far from here, but this does take place the same night them 4 dudes got hit in the 9 Deuces. Now, that's 4th of July weekend. We know that shit is always up. It's the same times of the year and damn near the same blocks that go up every year, time and time and again. But 5 days after this, another murder in the alleyway, 97th and Budlong. Now, this is in the 9-9 Mafia, but it's right in between all of the bullshit. We know 9-9 Mafia is cool with the Hoovers. They beef with the A-Trays, and they beef with the 9-0s and the Hunters. But Luis Garcia does end up losing his life over here on 97 and Budlong, not far from some other recent situations that we about to go through. Now, the next day after that, July 11th, drive-by shooting where the same place YCA 80 Bands lost his life.
It's crazy. Look, they've already been shot up. And
Manchester and Vermont. A man is shot on his bike in a drive-by shooting, but guess what? Another miss in the Hoovers. Again, this is the borderline of H City and 9 Deuce, extremely active. Now, 2 days after that, we on 90th and Broadway, where 2 people are shot in an apartment building. And the crazy part is, the suspect was seen skirting off in a blue Lamborghini in the 9-4 Hoovers. Niggas is
in a Lambo going crazy. In a blue Lamborghini is crazy. He got paper.
Doing slides in Lamborghinis. But guess what? 2 more misses. Luckily, those last 3 people didn't lose their life off 90th and Broadway in Vermont and Manchester. But what this creates is a sense of restlessness. You see how this shit going up. I told you these misses, they pile up and result in people taking drastic measures to get their man. But 12 days after this, we back in the Hoovers. 74th and Fig, the middle of 7-4 Hood. Man is shot in a gang-related shooting. Again, July 25th. Hit, not killed, another miss. That's 4 in a row. Niggas gambling, going through these blocks, and they not coming back with what they came over here for. This is what creates the tension. And this is how we got to...
I'm going to tell you what creates the tension. What create the tension is you going over there, people go over there, and it's nothing happening. Stuff not coming back. Or if they is coming back, it's coming, they cracking and they hitting something. That's just what happens. When it's up, it's like that. It's not because he missed. No, I just hit 7 of them. They're gonna like, oh, that boy, that's like, boy, that's more magical than jumping out and hitting somebody, shipping them. You didn't hit 8 people? Like, everybody gonna remember that. You shot 8 of them niggas. I'm just saying, they gonna remember that. And they gonna be surviving, they gonna remember that. But I'm saying that don't matter as well. But it's going on. We going back and forth.
14th and Paloma Street in downtown LA, H City and Hoova Hood Day party, man. Now, this situation, extremely uncalled for, extremely sad. But whatever hoods was trying to hit these people up in the Hoovers weren't satisfied that they kept missing, and they scoped out the party. Now, in that Broadway video, we broke down how people end up finding out where these parties are. Trust me, nobody just telling the streets, hey, this the party, everybody pull up. Especially when you know your hood is hot, niggas know the temperature outside. So this was probably the result of somebody talking too much. Most of the time it's...
I don't think so, because I remember that day, they was all on live. Everybody was on live, and it was in the middle of the street on live and all type of stuff. So I don't know if I think that somebody showed me it was middle of the street and all that.
Females that know somebody else, you know, somebody homegirl, sleeping with the other side. It's all kind of shit that can go on. You know, somebody could have been disgruntled and dropped the low. We may not ever know exactly how this shit played out, but we do know Africa Johnson and Gregory DeRiso lost their lives outside of this H Hoova hood party this night, man. And Africa Johnson was also somebody that had ties to both sides of the aisle. Kids from Hoover and her having ties to the neighborhood Crips.
She's so logged in over here, I wouldn't even guess where she from. She from 9-0, real good over here, won't nobody touch her. She from the op. Neighborhood 9-0, she from over there.
That means she got a respect in.
Respect. Her sons is low from over here.
And I'ma just go ahead and say this. Somebody fucked up that night at the hood day party because she was not the intended target. Pretty much all these hoods pushing this movement against the Hoovers rock with the 9-0s. But the main key players that we see in this situation, Main Street, Rolling Hunnids, Coast, they're even closer to the 90s. And I promise you, nobody truly wants to stand up and take credit for that situation because overall they did hit an ally in Africa Johnson. And what we seen was a pivotal turnout at her services. Skip Townsend and other members of the de-escalation community came out, and we seen them neighborhoods and the Hoovers together at the funeral. And something that I really saw was Lil AD with them members, and some of them niggas he was shaking hands with is really some of them guys from Hoover. And of course, with him being from neighborhood 60s, at a time like this, it looked like the streets were headed in the proper way at letting this shit die down, man. But something else that also transpired the same night Africa and Gregory got killed was somebody named Ronald Belton losing their life to a gunshot wound to the chest. Get this, damn near in the same spot that T4 lost his life. But this is all the way back August 3rd. He was sitting in his car over here on Imperial and Main when he was approached by two men and they started firing. Now, this is on the borderline of 11A East Coast and 11 Deuce Broadway. We know where 11A East Coast stands, and we'll speak on 11 Deuce shortly. I don't know the implications behind this specific homicide and if Ronald Belton had any skin in the game, so to speak, and was a result of gang violence. But that's just something that also transpired in one of these hotspots in the city. Again, the same night that the double homicide took place at H Hood Day party. Now, you know, after that, the city went quiet and then the feds came out. This is when the feds came, swept up the Hoovers. Primarily, they had their focus on some people from 11 Deuce. We know other members were involved in that. P4K, the feds came outside, the members went inside. But there was a situation around the same time that the indictment dropped. Again, off Imperial between San Pedro and Avalon. Again, right by the 11-8s and the Broadways and the 11 Deuce neighborhoods. A 25-year-old man is shot in his back inside of his Toyota. Now, he did live, and again, luckily he kept his life, but that's back-to-back on Imperial. Now, 2 days after that situation, we seen something that's kind of outside the hot spot right now. We know the hot spot, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the Menlos.
This is the 50s, nigga. What you talking about? So this is the 50s.
All East Coast hoods, the Hoovers, the main streets, the Hunnids. So we seen some on Ruth Ellen and Slauson. The 6-0s and the VNGs is right here. Now, we know both of these hoods beef with Hoover, but I believe this may have been an isolated incident from the main players of Ruth Ellen and Slauson. But in terms of the Hoovers, everything went quiet after the Hood Day murder. The indictment came down, but somebody in the city wasn't satisfied because on August 23rd, on 80th Street between Fig and Hoover, in the H Hoovers, bordering the 7-Folds, we see 35-year-old Denovius Gist losing his life over here, and somebody named Frog from 7-Fold was also hit in this situation. Frog made it out this situation alive. Another man was hit, but Denovius Gist did lose his life in the Hoovers. Now, this is the situation that transpired right before the mass shooting on Fig in Manchester. And this is where we go 3 days later, and that video came out with Chipmunk. 24-year-old William Irvin lost his life over here by that House of Hotties on Fig in Manchester. Broad daylight shooting. Somebody came out the cut. I think the nail shop is right there. A couple things is right there, but a key thing is, again, this is pretty much in front of the House of Hotties. Now, if y'all remember that Hoover indictment, House of Hotties was one of their main locations that the feds had on tap. They said the Hoovers was operating out of here, running the RICO out of House of Hotties. Now, some things about House of Hotties that I've heard is that the Hoovas kind of took it over. I believe there's a Hispanic family that runs the House of Hotties, and it's been claimed that the Hoovas really took it over when they set up shop, and they kind of took the clientele base from another lingerie store that I'm not gonna say in this video, but it was said that the Hoovas turned the House of Hotties up and low-key bullied their way into the situation right here. And as we can see, August 26th, the Hoovas was outside again. Everybody knew this spot was their spot. Somebody plotted and killed Chipmunk right here. Now, this is where shit got unsettling because it seemed like the Hoovas went back on offense and went straight to the east side 9A main streets. Now, I've spoke about Century and Avalon before. I believe that's one of the deadliest intersections in the city. This is a place where I really first started seeing HK City, aside from Rolling Hunters. Now, we know the front streets don't beef with the Hoovas, but we know they've had their ties with the 9-7s. We know the 9-7s, the Q102s, the 9-8s is right here, and this is not far from the 9-4s. But the streets have said the 9-2-4s slid over to Century and Main, not far from Century and Avalon, and started getting off where they killed Dylan Pressey, aka Mac 80, from West Coast Rolling 80 Crip out the west side of Long Beach. Now, this is something that I spoke on many times. This is how allies get drug into wars. We know West Coast 80, we've seen them beefing with the Hoovas before though. On Spring Street, I've seen a situation where I think it was somebody from 9-4 coincidentally on Spring Street, and he caught the beats over there. The 80s gave it to him. Now the 80s is over here by the 9-4s in the 9-8s. Mac 80 ended up losing his life with a gunshot to his head, the same way Chipmunk lost his life earlier in the day. And this day, everybody really was like, okay, we know what's up. Niggas is not playing, and it's best to stay out the way. And again, we fall into a pocket where it goes quiet. Now, the situation with West Coast 80, we know, like I said, they're on the west side of Long Beach. This is way outside of the realm over here on the west side and the east side of South Central. But as you can see, they do have ties. We see TB the Gunslinger put his shit out, and you know, they're not happy about what transpired to their homie. Now, what everybody wants, man, is for this shit to subside, man, for this shit to blow over. And honestly, these dudes sliding down Sepulveda, sliding down the 405 to the 110 and coming to the Hoovas, extremely unlikely. You know, it's a far drive. We not here for that, man. It's a fucked up situation, but I don't think we're gonna see a war break out between the 80s and the Hoovers. No more than it already has. Like I said, we've seen the 9-4s catch the beats on Spring Street. We see what happened to Mac 80 in South Central. I don't think it's gonna go too far after that. But again, the 80s are disgruntled. But as we see, shit slowed down for a little bit. All that situation with Chipmunk and Mac 80 happened August 26th. We fast forward to September 5th. A couple weeks of niggas laying low, 30 people end up on 74th and Main. Now, this is in Eastside 7 Trey Gangsters. We know their main enemies is gonna be the Swans. I can't say who all was over here. It seemed like it was going up though with 30 people outside, but this shit broke out into a shootout. Police said they found 30 shells on the ground, again on 74th and Main, where 2 people were shot and 1 person lost their life in this situation. Now again, correlation, I can't say with this one, man, but this is very close to the bullshit. 7 Trey is cool with the Hoovers, with the gangsters. At one point, they did deal with East Coast, but this is not a Hoover enemy. But the rolling 70s are, and this is where we see the next homicide take place. 68th and Hoover in the Menlos, September 12th, Christopher Burgett. It said the suspect got out of a white sedan, fired at the victim, and got back in the car and fled. We know the rolling 70s, HK City. Menlos and 6.5s are in this section right here. And 2 days after this, it goes up with TJ Boykins losing his life on Fig and Slauson, borderline 5-1 Deuce, and the 5-9 Hoovers. Now this is just up the way from the rolling 70s, bottom west side brims. 2 murders 3 days apart, September 12th, September 15th.
That's one of the most heartbreaking things in the world, bro. Walking up and seeing your homie on the ground, fighting for his life. That's when it hurt. That hurts. That you will never be the same after that. This is something right there. You will never be the same after.
And after this, it seems like somebody just had their mind set on the 9-4s. Now, we know the 924 is definitely one of the most active Hoover sets, Manchester Park, around this situation. But over here on the east of the 110, 89th and 2 Patchy, the Hoovers had a shootout. Somebody slid through, missed. Nobody lost their life in the 9-4s that night. Now, 2 Patchy, it's that little elementary school that's right there. This whole area, very tight-knit. We spoke on where the Hoovers be at in this area. They enemies know the same. That was September 21st. September 26th, 5 days later, 91st and Main, again in the 9-4 Hoovers. It said that a man was shot in 91st and Main, drove himself up to Manchester and Main, where the folks was performing CPR on him, and he seemed to have pulled through in that situation, which HK City would deem another miss. 2 days later, back in the 9-4 Hoovers, 91st and Broadway this time. Another shooting, nobody hit. Now the next day after that, 51st in Vermont, borderline 5-1 troubles, 5 Hoover. 20-year-old Brandon Reynoso loses his life over here in the H gang. Now, we know other hoods are over here as well. 18th Street, not confirmed that Brandon was from Hoover, but again, this is the hot spot. And this is what takes us down to 97th between Hoover and Vermont, where everybody started talking again. 15-year-old Anthony Smithers, that young dude from Hoover that everybody been talking about, that had a hand condition, walking home from a party in the 9 Deuces, man. And we said Colden Avenue, 97th, all these are extremely hot blocks. 95th, this whole area, what are we doing outside right now, man? It's too hot to be on foot late night after a party. He loses his life October 4th over here on 97th between Hoover and Vermont. Now, 4 days after this is where we see T4 the Low, Grady Myers from 11 Deuce Broadway, lose his life with being shot while in his vehicle on 113th and Main Street, not too far from Harry's Liquor, where a few of those vlogs took place, where we seen him doing his thing. Now, we heard some hoods taking credit for that. We know for the most part, Broadway is really only beefing with Denver Lane, but we don't know what happened in this situation. But this is somebody that seemed, like I said, be somewhat of a face of his section. Every time you see 11 Deuce, you see him, along with a couple other noticeable figures, of course, but being outside, hanging out with his homies, T4 was doing it. And some things that we seen about T4 was his pops was his big homie. And crazy enough, his pops had gotten into a situation back in 2012 where one of his own homies had shot him and one of their other homies from 11 Deuce. Over here off 108th and Spring, the middle of 11 Deuce Broadway, his pops was hit in his hood as well. Now, it was a situation where a dude named Deion Turner, who the people say went by Yo Ball from 11 Deuce. I don't know if that was his actual name, but that's what was in the paperwork. It said he got into it with T4's pops, who was T2, aka Lil Tall, and he was with somebody named Noonie, where it said that they were serving over here on 108. Now, it said that Yo Ball had picked somebody up and was venting to them about how he was getting into it with his homies, and said he was finna spin over there and holler at them niggas right when he picked up another non-affiliate homie. Now, when they hit 108th and Spring, what the people refer to as the big house over there, it said that Yo Ball seen Grady Myers Sr., T4's pops, and Lil Noonie hanging out, where he drove up and started getting off with the 9. Now, the dude that was in Yo Ball car, of course, he's spooked, he ready to get out, and he snitched. Now, in the paperwork, it say Lil Tall made statements as well. He testified that he drove himself and Lil Noonie to the hospital. They was both treated, and he admitted that they was from 11 Deuce. He said he knew Yo Ball for about 20 years, and he didn't implicate him as being a member of 11 Deuce, but he also said that he didn't get into it with Yo Ball that day and really had no idea why it cracked off like that on 108. But this is a situation that I felt was strange, being T4's pops is also not only his big homie, but also was shot in his hood. And we spoke about a situation with T4 when he did that Real MVP TV interview about 11 Deuce Broadway being tight with Main Street and how the Hoovers felt and responded. Now, that interview took place about a year ago, but the Hoovas basically displayed some ill feelings when the declaration was made about 11 dudes having somewhat of an alliance with 98 Main Street, who they bordered their hood with. But with Tifo, man, you know, the video, just like all the other videos, everybody in here, man, that we've seen, just not something we want to see from the young life. You know, most of these people out here is extremely young. But this situation fast forwards us a week later, man, right when we recording this video, October 14th, the second shooting in the same spot in this location, Manchester and Vermont. Izell Leonard Jr., aka YCA 80 Bands from Eastside A4 Main Street, loses his life. Now, it's said that he was with the pimp and shit. You know, he knocked a female, and for some reason, I don't know why, he should have never been over in this situation. The climate is too hot outside. I know the A4s is blocks away from here, but again, it was too great of a risk. Now, he had a little female that I think he was trying to sit down on the blade, but nonetheless ended up at this weed shop over here on the south side of Manchester, right next to Vermont. And this is where it said that he jumps out his blue whip, which is said to be his daily driver. Now, two things could have transpired, but nonetheless, he jumps out his car. Dude was following him inside. Some words is exchanged, and it said that he is sadly shot in the face in this situation and is no longer here. Further adding to the realization of the people that we see on this internet that we either sensationalize or communicate with, grow relationships with, grow familiar with, whatever the case is. You know, these is artists in the city and members that are losing this life. And you know, something else I also been peeping just a little bit in my communication with dudes from Main Street, 9-8 and 8-4. I'm not going to necessarily say tension, but some sort of a misalignment. Now, I hope this situation with Mafia Blue, aka YCA 80 Bands, doesn't result in friction, but we have seen some comments being made about 8-4 need 9-8 when it's time for them to go. And we know 9-8 is primarily the hood that we hear about in these slides. But you know, I think this is one of them situations where tempers is high, emotions are high, and things really need to subside in the city. To me, you know, I'm not gonna say too much, but this shit low-key sound like a setup, man. I'm gonna keep it 100. This is blocks away from where Chipmunk got killed. You know, either somebody recognized his whip or that female he was with was in communication with them niggas. You know, a lot is to unfold with that situation, but that's the latest individual we've seen go down in this war with Hoova versus the HK City Hoods, man. Now, I can't stress this enough, man. We gotta say rest in peace to everybody. It's time to slow this shit down in the city, man. And something I've always said, man, LA stay with the shit. We always got the hot spotlight. We always got it. We got it right now. I feel like niggas is really out here with the potential to make some legit chili, to really start touching the bag legitly. You know, we got so many platforms out here. Niggas that's picking up rapping. You know, we see a lot of these young dudes talking about they paper from their distro kid and, you know, really getting it off the rapping. And with these platforms out here, niggas can truly be uplifted, but don't end up like Chicago. You see nobody talk about them no more because they all smoked each other. Let's not go down that same path. Let's keep the heartbeat in the city, man. Let's keep this chili flowing in South Central, outside of South Central, West LA, Compton, Watts, Long Beach, Inglewood, Hollywood, the Valley, San Gabriel Valley, the IE. Let's keep this shit flowing, man. Y'all stay safe out here. Stay outside the hot spots. Let this shit cool down. If you
There you go, man. There y'all have it, man. You know what I'm saying? You heard what bro said, man. If you know stuff going on right now, man, stay up out these places, man. A lot of stuff going on, man, especially with the youth, man. Y'all got to be aware of what y'all doing. Have awareness of just being around, you know what I'm saying? Hanging out in groups like that. You see people attacking these groups, all that hanging with groups and hanging this and that. I don't think that's out. All that should be out, man. Listen, y'all kids need to be in the house. Be inside the house. Do y'all things inside the house, bro. Play y'all games and stuff. The streets ain't for everybody. Straight up. That's when you see how a lot of these kids lose their life because they so used to the social media things going on. Social media waves and the wave going on, and really it's getting live right now. A lot of these kids, the first time it's got live in their whole probably 8, 9 years, 7 years of being in the streets. It's got real live. Straight up. We went on a drought with nothing really was going on, barely stuff was happening. Now it exploded. Some of these kids ain't seen this. This is their first time being in this type of environment right now. You're gonna see a lot of them crash. You're gonna see a lot of them be in jail for life. You're gonna see a lot of them not here. Because they want to be the face of these YouTube pages. They want to do this and that. And a lot of pressure going to be put on them when these people start coming down on these people. Tell the kids all the time, listen, these streets, it's not a myth. The only myth part is that you're gonna survive it, you're gonna get out of the things, you're gonna come unscathed. That's the only myth part. Everything else, you can lose your life, all that is the truth. But listen, y'all let me know what y'all do. I had to do this one, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do a couple of more of these, you know what I'm saying? Even the report card stuff, I'm gonna start going through them and doing the little things and all that. So y'all tell me what's up. It's your boy ODM Slim, nothing like the other, man. I'm out of here. Peace out. Do it up.
Hi, it's Ron Hubbard. I'm calling again for the access code number to get into the building. I repeat, is that B as in boy, D as this dick in your mouth, H as head, and M as in your mouth.
What's the deal? It's your boy ODM Slim. You know what time it is, man. MummyDust.com, man. Mummy Dust, man. You see the gear, man. Fly as hell. When you see ODM, you see Mummy Dust. That's the only thing I'm wearing from here on out. You'll see all my type of, you know what I'm saying, custom-made stuff. MummyDust.com. Promo code ODM Slim, man. Get your 15% off all Mummy Dust gear. We going crazy, man. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is tap in, like the shirt, see the size you want, and get the shirts. No problem. Send them off. You see some ODM wearing. You want that? It probably cost you a little more. But listen, go check it out. MummyDust.com, man. It's your boy, ODM Slim, man. I'm telling you, we got the flyest there is. It's us. Who flyed at us? You let me know. You know what I'm saying? MummyDust.com. Mummy Dust with an I, not a Y. So if you want to be fly, Mummy Dust with an I. Straight up. Straight up. Mummy Dust with an I if you want to be fly. Either way it goes, it's Mummy Dust with an I. Get y'all merch. Let me know what's going on. Promo code ODM Slim. We going crazy. Let's go.